Hi everybody, start of a new month in lockdown again. So I've got a list of a load of blades I need to cut out. I'm going to start on those tomorrow. I've got about 25 or so that I need cutting out and cleaning up and sorting out for heat treating. But first job for today is to sort out some handle material. So I've got a couple of acrylic blocks that need to be split down and then have the liners added to them. I've also got this one, which is one of my pine cone ones. It's got the silver mica powder added to it, so I've got to split this. Well, instead of splitting it down the centre first, what I usually do with these is take the side pieces off, then I'll glue it onto my G10, and once that's all set and dried out, cured basically, then I'll split it down the centre. It just prevents any of the thinner pieces from warping as you're cutting it, because I have noticed that when it warms up a little bit you get a slight bend, and if you try flattening it off with a sander, if you overheat it, it's like a bimetallic strip and it'll just bend out on you, and it'll just keep on doing that while you keep trying to flatten it all off. So I'll glue the G10 onto that first, then I'll split it down the centre and get that ready. I've got the blades for those down here. Those are all ready to clean up, put the final bevels on, and then I'll get the handle materials added to them. So that's first for today, and then I've also got some leather work for those that I'm going to be working on a bit later. But let's go and take a look. Boom! Oh, boom! Right, so I've been cutting up the bits that I need to, so these are going into scales, so I've got to get those prepped up and those all glued together. The pine cone one, when I cut it I always put a bit of super glue over the top just to get into any of those little nooks and crannies, any voids in there that might be appeared or might have appeared when I've cut it, just to seal it all off. Once that's dried out thoroughly, I'll re-sand it again, and I will put these yellow liners onto it. So that's another job that's there. The other one that I've got on at the minute, I've got these pieces of walnut. So I've already cut the scales down, but what I've got to do is do a bit of brass in between some black G10. So I've got to sandwich it in between and then put the liner and then stick it all together. Now the only problem when you're using brass, it's very difficult to get it to stick, and also when you come to shape it all out and sand it all, where the glue is, the brass obviously heats up quite a bit, or it can do rather, and it can damage the epoxy in between. So you need to cut it as close as possible, and what I usually do is drill a load of holes into it as well, so when it's all glued together the epoxy actually makes like epoxy rivets, so it should also stick onto the handle, so, or rather onto the outer scale. So the brass, then the G10, and then the handle material, outer handle material, will all get riveted, or all the holes in to make these little epoxy rivets, and then the outer piece will then get glued onto it and all sandwiched together. And then when I come to put it onto the handle, I'll put some little divots onto this bit, just to make it a little bit of a surface, more of a surface area, and then I can shape it all up and get it ready for gluing onto the knife handle. It's that easy. typically batteries have been going flat. It is cold in here. I've got my gas heater on, but should prepare a little bit better. Anyway, I've got all my handle material here all ready to go. If I just show it all down here, there we go. So what I've done with the walnut that I'm going to be putting the brass liner on, so the walnut's been pre-drilled. I've drilled out the holes in the centre of the first bit of G10, and then the next layer is the brass. So the brass has been cut out as close as I can possibly can. Like I say, when you start shaping it, there's a danger that you can overheat the brass, and then damages the epoxy that it's all glued together with. So I've got those bits all glued together. Then the last piece is just one straight bit that's got a couple of holes drilled into it. I'm going to use these holes. I've got some nails I'm going to line it all up with, but I've also got a couple of 6mm drill bits that I'm just going to feed through to make sure it's fitted as best as it can be. Take those out, they'll be cleaned up. Once I've clamped everything down with the handle material, once it's all cured again, I'll have to re-drill it out anyway, so I'm not really overly bothered with that. So I've got to glue these sets up. So one's for a ghillie, one's for like a road tracker combo, and then I've got a couple of Fallostoker handles that I'm sorting out. Those ones are going to have the Cerakoted blades on them. I've just got to wait for those to come back from laser etchers, but they shouldn't be too long. So I've just got to get these all glued up, and that's this job sorted, and then I can finally get on to sorting my leather work out. Morning. Well, snowed again, but as traditionally it's thawing out fairly quick, and it's going to be piss wet through very soon. Great. Right, so first jobs this morning. First thing I did was I've moved my handle material off the bench that I had behind me here. What I've done, because the workshop's a bit cold, the epoxy's taking a little bit longer to cure. It's the 12-hour stuff anyway, so what I've done is I've shifted that inside the house, getting to warmer ambient temperature, and hopefully that'll be ready for putting on the knives tomorrow. I've still got to clean those up, so that'll be today's job. I've also got a bunch of sheaths stitched up last night that I just did after my tea. So I've got 5 of them sorted, so these need to be wet formed today. I've got to punch me holes through the welts just to make sure that they're started. What I usually do is punch them through, so I've got them punched through 2 layers. Then when I glue it, I can use my awl to push it through the 3rd layer. So I'll get those sorted, then I'll wet form them. But first of all, bit of tidy up time. So that's the sheaths drying off. You can probably hear I've got my vacuum chamber going off in the background, so the vacuum pump's going. Next job is to sort out the blades. I've got these sorted, they're heat treated. I just need to get all basically the old green scale that's on the side of them, get them all cleaned up, and then they're ready for putting me handles on tomorrow. I can get into shot as well. Right, so the seats are virtually dry, but I'm going to put the Resolene on the inside of these, get them hung up and make sure they're fully dried, and I'll glue them tomorrow. Got all the blades cleaned off, so these are now ready for putting a bevel on and handles to go on tomorrow. So get these sorted first. Right, that's all those with the Resolene wash. I'll get these hung up and back into the drying box, get them sorted for gluing up tomorrow. I know it hasn't been a great load of knives that I've showed you this time, just a few bits and bobs. Unfortunately, one of the knives that I've got sorted recently is for a present, so I can't really show that until I know the person's got it for their birthday. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. I'll get these blades sorted with the bevels on them because I want to try and get them finished off. Time's going on a bit for tonight. And other than that, guys, I'll see you next time, and hopefully I've got something to show. I'll see you later.